Hey, everybody. Welcome to the very first of 8 Zoom calls on unlocking VA loan success. I appreciate you being here today. And one thing that I promised everybody is that I'm going to really focus on outside the box things. I'm not going to talk debt ratio and other boring stuff. Hopefully, it's going to be something that you can take from this. And if you're a veteran, go jump into it right away and benefit from it. Or if you're a realtor, that how you can share this. And a lot of people are kind of negative out there, just especially the news. But you can take this and go, oh my gosh, there are so many solutions you can do, and you just won't believe what you can do with a VA loan and that VA loan eligibility. So. Um, uh, we're going to go ahead and start diving into this right now. And if you have any questions, you put it in the chat box, and those will come up to me in a little bit, and I'll be glad to answer all of them. Okay. Let's see if you can move to the next slide. All right. Today, the very first day is building wealth as a VA investor. So, first of all, VA is a primary residence loan. Okay. I do get the question a lot. Hey, can I use VA to buy with land or buy a rental property and all that? So those answers are no, but we're going to show you how it can help you become an investor. Okay. Because really when you're a homeowner, even first time buyer, first time use of VA, and you end up buying a house, no money down, most don't think of themselves as an investor. When you own real estate, you're an investor. Okay. Because obviously you're hoping it'll appreciate and it will do you well. One day you may sell it or rent it out. So it can build wealth. So remember, you're an investor from day one. All right. So we're going to talk about how PCSing can be your friend. Obviously, anybody with the military knows that is something that is commonplace and just part of the deal. And you have to move, but you can benefit from that. So in real estate, and I know plenty that have done that. Buying multifamily properties, and that's huge. We'll talk about how you can buy a primary residence and have the other unit or units rented out to help you make your payment, maybe even cover the whole thing. Having up to 3 VA loans at once. Many people don't know you can have 2 VA loans. Really rare for anybody to know you can have up to 3 VA loans. That's tough. It's a unique situation, but it can. We've had a few close just in the last year that way. And then maybe 6. That really blows people's mind. So we'll talk about that. And then also, if you do decide to change over a property to being an investment property, we're going to talk about possible tax benefits from that. I'm gonna go ahead and get my disclaimer out of the way. I am not a CPA, financial advisor, attorney, or anything like that. I'm just telling you ideas and things that can really potentially benefit you, and you should consult your professional about that. If you do not have one that's good at that, always reach out to me. I like to be the resource and know if you need a good CPA, financial advisor, heating and air guy, anything. I have trust relationships, sometimes over 20 years for these things. So it's important for you to have your own little group like that to make sure you can bounce ideas off like this or refer people to. So let's go ahead and get on into this. Again, occupancy rules. I get this all the time. Occupancy fraud is the biggest thing out there in as far as fraud. I don't remember the percentage, but it's up there. Do not be that person. That's a federal crime and all that. So VA rules is it's a primary residence. Now, in later episodes, we're going to talk about some really cool creative things that, again, a lot of lenders don't know about. There's a lot of things you can do with VA with that occupancy that's allowed, but just not commonplace or known. And so big question is, hey, can this be a rental? Not right now, but eventually it can be. Okay, you just got to meet certain requirements. And the big question is when. There's the bad and there's the good. The bad is, yeah, it's gonna be my primary residence, and then as soon as you buy, you turn right around and rent it out. That is not good. That's fraud. But the good is, hey, I'm buying, I am gonna move in, occupy. Someone has to occupy within 60 days of closing. You do that, great. And then an extraordinary situation comes along, job transfer, whatever. that's okay. You can move out of the house and rent it, sell it, or whatever. You're not going to get in trouble for that. So, and that's where we could potentially get into what we're going to talk about today and building wealth through investment properties. Okay. As I mentioned, PCSing can be your friend. It's never fun, of course. Well, I wouldn't think it's hardly ever fun to pick up your family and move. A lot of times across the country, and just everything changes, schools, houses, all that kind of stuff like that. So, when you're PCSing, you may own a home already and then need to buy another. Again, you can have two VA loans at once. It's called accessing your bonus entitlement. And or you may be a first-time buyer and just moving from a base to, all right, now I'm ready to buy. I want to buy in the Fayetteville area, in the Jacksonville area, whatever. So when you do this, um, it is possible that again, let's say you own another property. Does it make sense for you to sell that home? Hopefully access, there's equity built up in the home, hopefully. If you own it long enough, most people have a good amount of equity. So that's a big decision you have to make. Is that money more important to me right now? Or do I want to rent it out? And that's where, you as a homeowner need to research the market, talk to a experienced realtor in your area. What kind of rent can you get on it? What's the upkeep? If you're going to be living across the country or something like that, you need to know how much hands-on you want to be or need to be. Do you need a rental manager? You at least need someone watching it. So that's something to explore. And but again, if you do own that property with a VA loan, and then you want to use VA again, that's where you could have two VA loans at once. It can potentially be no money down, but again, that's something we will figure based on your current entitlement used, new purchase price, and how much entitlement has available will determine if you need to have down payment or not. Okay, and then there's creative ways to, if you need down payment, how you can access that and everything. But a really cool thing that, again, we'll talk about in, I really sound salesy here, but when we talk about the next episode, but one of the other episodes is qualifying to use your bonus entitlement, but use your second VA loan and not have to count your current mortgage payment in your debt to income ratio and qualifying. And you can sell or rent that house out after the new closing. That's huge. So let's move on to the next thing. And of course, if anybody has questions on relocation and PCSing, certainly put that in the chat box. Find multifamily to build wealth. Okay, multifamily, again, it's 2 to 4 unit. In residential mortgage lending, 2 to 4, 1 to 4 units is residential. When you get into 5 or more, that's commercial lending. And I'm not a commercial lender. But I know a good one if you need one. Again, when you're buying multifamily, let's say someone has full entitlement. You can, if you have full entitlement, assuming everything, credit and income and everything is good, you can buy a 2 to 4 unit dwelling with no down payment on a VA loan. And so that's huge. So, so you've got that. And even as bonus entitlement, we'll figure it out. You need to have down payment or not. And let's say, 2 to 4 units typically can be a higher price. I mean, it might be $1 million. And the common thinking is, shoot, I don't know what the VA loan limits, but that's too high. Not true. There are no VA loan limits if you have full entitlement. So buying $1 million, we've closed, not multifamily, but I've had $1,975,000, 100% VA purchase recently, a couple months ago, $1,079,000. $1.1 million, all 100% financing. So, but on 2 to 4 unit, so it's $1 million property. If you have full entitlement, no down payment, no PMI. Again, no other loan can match that. And so, and then you get to use potentially the rental income. Let's say it's a 4 unit. Again, it's a primary residence loan. You have to occupy one of the units. The other 3 can be rented out. All right, but then when it comes to qualifying, there are some extra VA guidelines. One, you need to have 6 months of assets in reserve. So let's say you're bringing $15,000 to closing for closing costs, insurance, all that stuff, like ballpark. If you're doing that, you got to have that. Then you need to have 6 months of payments in reserves, in retirement, checking, savings, somewhere. Okay, so you got to have that. If you don't have rental property management experience, okay, which a lot of people don't when they first do this. Can't count that rental income. All right. And let's see. Can you skip forward on the slide? I need to check something out real quick. My memory's okay. Let's stay right here. All right. You cannot use if you don't have the experience, you cannot use that income to qualify. That might make it tough for a lot of people to qualify. $1 million property, that's a big payment. But hire a management company. VA has a guideline that says if you hire a management company, you can count that rent. So that's the way around that. So very cool. So you interview companies for managing the property. You get something in writing showing that they're going to do that, and then you go from having to qualify at, I'm making this up, $5,000 payment to now, well, I'm getting $3,500 in rent already from this. That just offset it. Now you only have a $1,500 portion. That's super cool. All right. Now, VA deed of trust says that it is your intention to live in this property as a primary residence for 1 year. All right. After that, you may change your mind and decide, you know what, we want to go buy another house and we're going to move out of unit 1 and still got the 3 rentals and rent out our unit. So now you moved out. Now you have 4 units rented, and now let's go buy another property. And again, this is we would look at, does it make sense with VA doing bonus entitlement, using VA again, or if that's just, if you're buying $1 million property, you want to go buy a $500,000 property, that's probably going to be a decent amount of down payment on VA. So we'll look at other options. There's conventional 5% down. There's FHA. There's all kinds of other options. But that's again what we do. We'll figure all that out and strategize. But this is building wealth. And so I will tell you that someone can start off and just jump into something like this. And of course, you got to do things when you're a property manager, when you own rental property. But this can be some kind of way to build wealth, especially if that thing cash flows and you have other people, 2 to 4 people that are paying your mortgage payment, and then hopefully even extra, and building that equity, building wealth, and all that. So huge. All right, so let's go to the next slide here. All right, 3 VA loans at once. Again, that usually gets a lot of people, and again, 2 VA loans will surprise many. But so full entitlement again. 100% financing, no problem. And then bonus entitlement means we're going to look at how much entitlement you have used on this current mortgage, VA mortgage you have. What's the price of this new one? And let's say, all right, this one here, you have a $200,000 VA mortgage on the existing one. And now you're moving for whatever reason, just decide to move across the town, better area, PCSing, whatever. VA again, let's say 250. All right. Those amounts, it's going to be no down payment required. But let's say you got to move again. Hey, you know what? The stairs in this house, I don't know, it's causing my knees problem, whatever. I need to move into a condo or a 1-family home, whatever the reason. 200, 250. And again, my disclaimer again is I haven't checked this out. Okay. The numbers I'm spitting out here. Let's say the next one is somewhere around 250 or whatever. But if the VA loans that are in existence, the first one, the current one, and then using the next one, if there's enough entitlement left over from the other 2, you may be able to buy the next one with no money down. 3 VA loans at once. And I know I closed, there was one scenario where we had someone that had 2 VA loans existing and something similar. They needed to go into more of a low maintenance type situation, move into a condo. And we're able to do our 3rd VA loan that way. Another thing that many don't think about, which this is part of bonus entitlement. Let's say someone had a VA foreclosure a long time ago. You can still use VA again, but you have to use bonus entitlement because that's tying up part of your entitlement. So let's say someone had a smaller VA loan, $150,000. It was foreclosed 10 years ago. VA keeps record of that. Hey, this much entitlement used. I want to buy another house, 250. Okay. That's enough bonus entitlement. You can do that, no money down. Do it again. You only going to in the end have 2 VA loans, but again, technically VA looks at it as you have three taken up entitlement. You can do it again. So very cool. And so buy, rent, and buy again. Now, how do you get 6 VA loans? Some of y'all might be thinking, and some of you probably think, oh, I know how it's going to be done. But a beautiful thing is when you have 2 military spouses. And so they got 2 to 3 VA loans over here and 2 or 3 over here. And they can be joint on all these loans, but on each one you decide which one's entitled, what we're going to use. And that's again where we get into strategy. We might have one that is active duty military, the other is a military veteran, disabled. And I will tell you, whenever you can, it's the benefit to use the one that's exempt from the VA funding fee because the VA disability or a Purple Heart recipient. So because you save the 2.15 or 3.3% VA funding fee. So a lot of times load it up on that one first because you save the cost and then maybe use the others. But again, lots of strategies there. So remember that, but that will blow people away. And again, if you're marketing, if you're a realtor, something like that, get that out there because a lot of people think, nope, I got my VA loan, I'm one and done. That's all. And I have to pay this one off before I get another one. Not true. I mean, it will really open people's eyes and go, oh, wow. So I can, move. I can get a good VA loan again. And so you do all this and I've had so many clients where you have spouses like this, but whether they decide from the very beginning to do this, but they eventually, again, you're investors and you hadn't even touched like, okay, hey, we got 1 or 2 properties that have a lot of equity in them now. And, we want to keep doing this and we want to move. All right. We refinance some of those VA loans into conventional and do a restoration of their entitlement and you can use VA again. So I've had clients that have, I don't know, 15 properties or something like that. They started off this way. So very, very cool strategies. Okay. And this is whether you're, a veteran yourself, if you're a realtor, if you're a financial advisor, CPA, mortgage lender, these things, this is really cool stuff. Okay. Rental income, capital gains exclusion, and write-offs. Again, I'm not CPA, but I'm telling you enough information that you want to. I mean, I can talk deeper about actual scenarios, but think about the tax benefits that are potential here. So number one, especially if someone has a mortgage that's like in the 2s and 3s from years ago, if you've got that, you've also probably got a lot of appreciation. Okay. So something that's, let's say your mortgage payment's $1,500, but it'll rent for $2,500 now. You've got a big decision to make. Do we take, let's say they got $100,000 in equity in this property that they could get if they sold it. If they lived there for 2 of the last 5 years as a primary residence, then potentially you have no capital gains to pay because of an IRS exclusion for the primary residence. And that is $250,000 for a single person. Married filing jointly is $500,000. So sale $100,000, potentially and probably will not have to pay capital gains on that with current tax law. And look that up. Rental inflation is real high, so you have that on your side. Rentals, there's not enough rentals out there. I mean, I'm a big believer in ownership, but when someone has to rent, that rent's going up, and if you're an investor, that's on your side because it just means more and more cash flow for you. Certainly we take advantage of write-offs, whether it's fixing things up, driving to the property, depreciation, all things you should talk and strategize with your CPA. And I highly recommend using a CPA over doing it yourself or I don't know, an online service that can't give you advice. That's my opinion. And then something that's also high level strategy. And this is an example I had with someone recently. So they're buying over $1 million primary residence, and they own another property, and it has a good amount of equity in it. And they're trying to decide, do we sell this property or do we rent it out? And I'm not going to tell them which way to do, but I'm going to give them all the information to be able to make that decision. So it comes down to where it was going to cash flow really well as a rental property. So that's a good thing. But then the other side, if they sell it, could take hundreds of thousands of dollars out and use it for something down the road. It could be paying down this new mortgage down the road. It could be college fund, retirement, buy another investment property. There's so many options there. But something to also consider is, remember, 2 of the last 5 years as your primary residence. So let's say today, bought the new house, moved in, and what if you decided to rent out that property? Okay. I want to rent it out. It cash flows. I'm going to depreciate it. I'm going to take write-offs and all that stuff. I got higher income. This will help me out and everything. Even if it might be, break even or something, there could be potential benefits for you. Again, talk to your CPA. But how about this? What if you rented it for a few years, but stop and sell it before 3 years? And the reason I say that is because we went, let's say, occupied it for the last 5 years. All right. So now you move out. Clock starts ticking right there. And you decide, I'm going to rent it out for 2 years. All right. And then sell it. All right. Look back. For 2 of the last 5 years, did you occupy as your primary residence? Yeah, 2 of the last 4 I did. Okay. Talk to your accountant. Say, hey, I lived there 2 of the last 4 years. I'm looking at selling it now. Am I right by saying this? I benefited from this being a rental property for a couple of years now. And now I want to sell it. And I'm going to take that profit and I'm not going to pay taxes on that. Yep. So you get the benefit of a rental and no capital gains potentially. Huge, huge, huge. So, I mean, it might be doing well and you're like, I'm not going to access that. Or maybe I'm going to access that by a refinance. And by the way, when you get money out on a refinance, that is not taxable income. That's just getting assets out from a illiquid kind of property to liquid and be able to do something else with it, not taxable as well. So huge, huge, huge stuff that if you go really deep into this stuff and you start off with a no money down, no PMI, VA loan, I'm not an investor, to yeah, I'm a homeowner, and you start gaining equity, you start moving into all of this and maybe multiple properties, and then you're into a CPA advising you and financial advisor advising you on very high level stuff. And hopefully you would consider me as one of those advisors too. So it's just endless possibilities to just really creating wealth, all from a beautiful thing that's a no down payment VA loan. So really cool stuff. And as you can tell, I've done this for 30 years. I still get excited about all this stuff. So there's a tip for realtors, and a lot of people that will watch this are realtors, but be the expert, be the resource, educate, communicate, be the resource, be positive out there, focus on what you have, what you don't, not on what you don't have. Again, the news is bad, like, oh my gosh, the prices are too high, rates are too high, they're not 2%, all that stuff like that. I mean, are there hurdles for some? Absolutely. But if you can educate some things like this, and again, we're going to talk about a lot more in the next episodes, but if you can talk to people about this and let them know, oh no, you can do this, you can buy and get a VA loan again potentially. You can relocate, and we can consider maybe turn this into a rental property, help you build wealth. Go over relocation. Be a relocation expert. Again, it's a scary thing for people. But try to help them out in all that. Make the process easier and profitable for veterans. Know and share this expertise in things I've talked about rental income, projections of rental income, potential tax benefits, and have your team together for success. That means, again, when you're talking about all these people, hopefully, again, you'll consider, us as the mortgage expert. But then a good CPA, that's a good question that you have there. I'm not a CPA, but let me introduce you to Joe Blow, CPA, financial advisor. Financial advisors don't just do stocks. They know that if someone's a experienced and good investor, they're going to have other things, and that's part of their realm there too. So remember to think about those kind of things. Let's see, and I think that was. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide? All right, so, not sure if there's any questions in the chat or, um, are there any questions in the chat? I never pay attention.
I don't see any as of right now.
Okay,
But if
does-
anyone
does
does have any
anybody-
questions.
Anybody have any questions for me right now? I'll say a quiet crowd, but we have you all muted. So, obviously I'm always available for scenarios, questions, things like that. We are going to, I'm gonna have to skip this next coming week because, we're having our, quarterly, I'm sorry, not semi-annual, corporate meeting in Roanoke. But on October the 2nd, we're gonna do the next part of our series, which is protecting yourself from VA condition requirements. I get this question all the time, or actually right before this meeting, I said, I can answer one quick question. And the question was, hey, on our contract, I need to get a VA well inspection. What do I need to do on that? And tune in next time for the answer for that. But we're gonna talk about pest inspections, water tests, septic, when you get it, what are they looking for? Repairs exceptions, on VA appraisals, they come in subject to, there are sometimes you can get those waived. Yes. I did not know that until recently. And then appraisal's not a home inspection. I'm telling you, most people think VA is going to come out and do a home inspection on their property and say, oh, this thing's guaranteed, you're good to go. So we'll talk about that. I've written articles on all these things before, and it's very popular stuff. So anyway, just that's the next one, and we're going to be talking about a lot of other things. Hopefully you felt that you got a lot of good information. It's things you don't hear every day about VA, and things that you can take and from this and go and talk to people and actually gain, if you're a realtor, gain buyers and sellers. These are things that will help you gain sellers too. If you're a VA eligible client, turn from just a homeowner or become a homeowner, or homeowner to an investor, to a homeowner again, to an investor again, things like that. So that's what we want to do. Think outside the box. Make sure that we can give you good advice, legal advice, and help you make the most of VA. So again, we look forward to seeing you on the next one. And anybody has questions in the meantime, please let me know. Got my contact information here. And all of you have a blessed day.